Well, hello and welcome back to the NRLW Weekly podcast, all thanks to Lite N and Harvey Norman. My name is Marlee Silver. I'm your resident NRLW superfan. And as always, I'm joined by the one, the only Ruan Sims. And on today's show, then there were four. We dive into a big preview before the prelim finals this weekend. Rue also gives her team of the year. We get a little bit of what caught my sideline eye, your questions as well. But, oh my gosh, don't you just love this time of the year, Rue?
Yes, so exciting. Finals is here. Well, we're in the thick of finals.
Oh, yeah.
And for the first time ever, 6-team finals series. The top two actually sat out for that first week. We saw some great football on the weekend, and we're going to see some even better football this weekend.
Oh, yes. Well, before we get into that preview, it's actually time for you to award something. All this year, we've been talking about who your team of the week and your player of the week has been to lead up to the NRLW Weekly medal, and the results are in.
Well, my team of the year, I think this would be very unsurprising. Sydney City Roosters. I thought they were absolutely incredible, undefeated throughout the entire regular season, and I think half of last year as well. Most of last year too. So they're such a juggernaut, and they deserve to be the team of the year.
Absolutely.
And then my player of the year, looking back at it, I was quite free with my points. It was spread out over all games. We didn't have more than one winner each week. And so what I ended up doing was looking back and having a look at the player who had the most impact for their team most consistently. And I still couldn't split them. So this year for me, my player of the year is shared between Tamika Upton and Olivia Koenig. I think both players have been incredible for their respective sides, and they both have significant impact on how their team plays and just the results. So, yeah, I couldn't split them.
Once again, no surprises in either of those, and we get to see both of those players on show in the two prelims this weekend. I think they'll both play pretty big parts in those games as well. Now we are at this point in the year, there's less footy on our screens, and it feels like that allows space for people to stir up the rumour mill. So already we're hearing whispers of who's moving where, what players might be signed. You know, we spoke about last week the Warriors talking about they've got 4 big signings. There's some whispers again about Jessie Southwell, but it's like, guys, just let her focus on the prelim final ahead of her. Scuttlebutt, which is a word that I learnt today. But one thing we do know for sure, the Tigers have a new head coach.
Yes, Craig Sandrock has been appointed after their appointment. Well, they're having a look at it, doing some interviews, having a look at people. I think last week it was reported that Garth Brennan might have been locked for the position, but Craig Sandrock gets it. He's returning to a club that he was an assistant coach with at NRL level. Yeah. And he was also involved in the Bulldogs, the Harvey Norman system as a head coach, so for the women. So he does have experience in working in that women's space, and he's taking up that role with the West Tigers. So good luck to him. He's got some really good young talent there. And I dare say we'll see him making some moves very quickly on signing and re-signing some players.
Absolutely. A change is as good as a holiday, isn't it? So hopefully for the Tigers this means onwards and upwards from here. Yeah. On the other side of this break, we are going to get stuck into your team of the year, Rue, which is very exciting. But you are listening to the NRLW Weekly podcast with Marlee Silver and Ruan Sims, thanks to Lite N and Harvey Norman. Welcome back to the NRLW Weekly podcast. Thanks to Lite N and Harvey Norman. It is now time for learning with Lite N from footy players to fans like you. Lite N helps everyone to eat well, feel great, and save time for the things that matter most. And Rue, this week we are learning who makes up your NRLW team of the year.
Yes. Now, this was so difficult to split, and I've manipulated things to suit how I would see these players playing. So that's why, because people are like, I don't play that. Don't come at me, because this is what I would envisage. There were some incredible players this year, some fresh faces that absolutely hit the scene flying, some old faces that are turning back the clock and playing great football. But I'll just get into it. Yes. So obviously fullback Tamika Upton.
Yes.
very easy choice, that one. That was a lock. Her and Olivia Koenig were locked at lock and fullback, respectively. On the wing, Taina Novindi.
Yeah.
For the Roosters.
Try-scoring machine.
Yeah, I thought she was absolutely incredible. So she's on one wing. And then somebody who was in my rookie team or debut team of the year, or as I gave her a special mention as well. It was Peyton Takimoana.
Yeah.
I thought she was fantastic. But I actually have gone with Caitlin Turnbull as my winger for this side. I know that she moved to fullback towards the back end of the year, but I just thought the season she had was incredible.
Absolutely.
And then I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to anyone, but in my centres, Julia Robinson and Isabel Kelly were both immense for their sides. And this is where people are going to get a little bit weirded out. I've gone with my 6. I've gone Taryn Aiken at 6 and Jessie Southwell at 7. And the reason I've done that is because I like the way that those two would play off against each other. And I know they both wear the number 7, but I feel like Taryn Aiken has this real ability to be a ball running 6.
Yeah.
But however, there were some great 6s. I mean, Jocelyn Kelleher has been fantastic, but I see her more as a 7 for me, personally, because with her kicking game. And Patricia Maliepo. It was so close between her and Taryn Aiken because obviously Taryn played 7 when she was available. Outside of injury. And up front, I've gone the Roosters enforcers, Rima Butler and Atessa Pule. They're the best bookends, honestly, and they've just got such impact consistently, which is great. And this one's going to come as a bit of surprise. She only played half of the season here, but I'm going Georgia Hanaway at 9.
Nice.
Because I look at, I think, Emma Mansellman has been fantastic. Keely Davis has been fantastic. Olivia Higgins has been fantastic. But I look at the impact that Georgia has had when she's gone into that 9 position with that injury to Quincy Dodd. And without Quincy there, when Georgia went in, it went up another gear as well once because they were sort of struggling to see how that 9 role would work. And when she went in there, I think it just changed the pace of the game for the Sharks. And I think, imagine her with this pack.
Oh my gosh.
Like scary good.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You know what? In the last game of the regular season, when we were up in Gosford, I think it was Gus saying in commentary that he has a new favourite player emerging and it was Georgia Hanaway.
Yes,
he did say that. And I think it's because it's pretty clear to us when you're watching those games the impact that she does have.
Yeah, and like and people will sort of say, well, she didn't play 9 all year. And I said, I know that. But when you have a look at the way that 9 role is developing, it's less about just distributing the football and it's more about playing as a genuine other half. Half. And I think because she has played in the half, she gets that and she sees it really beautifully. So I think we'll see that role start to change now, that 9 role, which I think is awesome. And then on my edges, trusty but have had great seasons, Yasmin Clydesdale and Kezzy Apps. Were absolutely incredible.
Haven't they just?
You know, and like Kezzy in a team that struggled and only got 1 win throughout the year, her output was just so consistent and so good. And Yaz, we saw she just got better as the season got harder and she just stepped it up extra levels each single game.
Absolutely.
So that's why I've gone that way. And then on the bench, I've gone with Emma Veron as my 14.
Nice.
Yeah. So she can play a couple of different positions.
She sure can.
Shalom Salaso.
Yep. Didn't so many people fall in love with her this year?
Oh, seriously. She's great. Yeah. So exciting. And then I've also had Ellie Johnston and Salah Tongatuki.
Oh.
So that rounds out my bench.
That'd be a tough team to beat.
Yeah. And also a good mention, or an honourable mention to Keely Joseph too. So I'd have her in the 20, but I can't name 20. I only name 17. But she'd definitely be in there and she wouldn't look out of place.
Amazing. I know how hard it is for you to whittle
those
so lists
tough.
Down. So that's
you can hear me talking it through. Just going,
Sounds pretty bloody good. Thank you so much, Rue, for your team of the year.
Now, this is time for my favourite segment. Marlee, what caught my sideline eye?
Well, at this time of the year, as teams are being eliminated from finals, it's obviously very sad and they need something, to do to take their minds off the loss, and watching a little bit of silly Sunday business is something that I thoroughly enjoy. And so I have to give a shout out to the Gold Coast Titans, partly because I think they're one of the only teams that put stuff on social media. It was very innocent, but they had some really good dress ups.
Oh, yeah.
So Jamie Chapman and Shaylee Bent were goths, like full on goths. Okay. And they did the makeup. They were head to toe. They were in big platform boots.
At the Gold Coast.
At the Gold Coast.
They would have been
sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
And my best on ground for outfits that I saw has to be Natasha Penatani. She was dressed as Ice Spice. You know the singer Ice Spice? So she had a little afro and she was in heels and everything, and she was doing like a lip sync to one of Ice Spice's songs.
Fantastic.
And like dropped low in the heels seamlessly.
Wow.
These athletes, they're incredible.
My knees hurt just thinking about it.
Exactly same. So did mine. I didn't even play sport. But it just looked like they were having all the time in the world, and it certainly helps the blow of being knocked out. So I loved that. And then I was also just, you know, in my sideline brain doing some math and the possibilities. And I'm saying this because I'm manifesting it. I'm very objective. We just love great sport, blah, 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 blah. But I tell you what I want to happen for the grand final. We have the opportunity for it to be Broncos Sharks in the women's, then Broncos Sharks in the men's.
We do.
Imagine it. Imagine that. Imagine how big the crowd would be early in the day. Imagine the viewership. Imagine the hype in Brisbane and Cronulla all of next week. So that's what I have all my fingers and toes crossed for, just because I love symmetry. I love that. I love the storylines that are possible there, and I love the way both of those communities. I mean, it's going to be amazing regardless.
Yeah.
But I'm putting it into the universe because I would really like that. It would make me very happy come grand final day.
That would actually...
That would be amazing.
That'd be the first time ever that's...
So the only other time that we've had at least one team...
Yeah, was with the Roosters.
No, it was...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Roosters.
Way back when.
And when
Parramatta. We lost and the men won.
Oh, that game. Yeah, that was early days of NRLW. But in recent memory, I'm thinking about when Parramatta... Parramatta girls, because it was quite a short competition at that point, at the last moment.
Well, they beat the Broncos to get through to the grand final.
And they ended up losing, and so did the Parramatta men straight after to Penrith. But, you know, I remember at that game I think that was my first NRLW sideline when I was at ABC Sport at the time. And the crowd was insane. Yeah. It was so good. And it just forces those families who are doing the big trip for the grand final. More and more each year people come early for it. Yep. But I just think it would make it even bigger.
That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing.
It's got to be some good football this weekend if that's to happen.
I know. Anyway, I'm staying confident. That's what's caught my sideline over the last week. It is now time to get stuck into your questions. We've been loving your questions this year. They've been so very good. Bonus gift cards with selected TVs, fridges and more now at Harvey Norman. This first question from Alicia. The prelim finals are set. Roosters v Sharks and Broncos v Knights. This is kind of a perfect segue of what we were just saying. Of the two qualifying teams, which one has the better chance of upsetting the top two team, and why? So do the Knights have a better chance of upsetting the Broncos, or the Sharks upsetting the Roosters?
I think the chances are pretty equal.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one team that has more opportunity than the other. But I will say this. Both the Knights and the Sharks are going to have to play their absolute best football for the longest possible period of time if they want to upset the Broncos and the Roosters. Yeah. So we've seen the Broncos have this incredible strike. So the Knights' defence is going to have to be up to the task consistently. They're going to have to consistently, be up and make sure that they can shut down the threats when they see them coming. And they have a lot of threats, the Broncos, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the Roosters, unfortunately for the Roosters, no Taryn Aiken with that ACL. Aliyah Nazio is out with suspension, so she's out for the week. Amber Hall has a concern with her calf. Rimma Butler has a little bit of a injury concern as well from training, but she's been named, as has Amber Hall. So if the Sharks are going to try and get the job done over it, they're going to have to continually attack the Roosters and move the Roosters around and force their defensive system to go into a little bit of stress. Yeah. Because their defense is very good. It's very, very good. So you have to challenge test them consistently. And that's where the Sharks are going to have to be really, really on the ball when it comes to it. And one big thing for the Sharks, they can't allow those cheap yardage penalties, which has sort of hamstrung them a little bit this year. So I think both teams have equal opportunity to beat their opposition, but they have to play their best football to do it, and they have to play it for a minimum of 70 minutes. Minimum. And I say minimum because we had a game earlier this year go the distance through Golden Point and
be a draw.
No result, still be a draw.
Yeah, gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm already nervous. I actually like you talking about that. I'm nervous for no reason other than like it's going to be so good and I'm going to be like, oh. Great question from Alicia. Tess also writes in and says, we saw some unbelievable games this season. We certainly did. What was your favourite game of the year and why?
Oh,
that's a really tough question.
Like, how many games of football have I watched this year? 1,000? In NRLW, what's my favourite game? I think I probably have to go with the one I just spoke about. Yeah. The Titans and the Bulldogs.
It was amazing.
They went the distance, went through Golden Point.
Horrific conditions.
And couldn't split the difference.
Yeah.
So I think that from an NRLW perspective, probably that one because it was the first one we ever had.
The kicking from Taylor Preston in that weather.
She kept them in that game. She kicked 3 40 30s, I think, that game.
Ridiculous.
So, she really kept them in that game.
Absolutely.
And they played good football. But then I also probably have to go with game 2 of Women's Origin.
Oh, yeah.
As well. That's probably my favourite as well because I think, again, horrific conditions at Allianz Stadium and the Blues just stuck to their game plan and they were just ruthless.
Absolutely.
Absolutely ruthless.
It was a great game.
Yeah, and to be able to be out there as well, like in the middle of it, listening to the crowd, get behind the girls, listening to the players, watching the focus, delivering the message from Strangey to them. Just to get that real vibe and feel for it. They were so dialed in. So they're probably my 2 favourite games of the year.
I really liked, I think it was round 2 of the regular season when the Roosters and the Broncos faced each other.
That was a good game.
Because of the way the Broncos fought their way back.
Yeah.
I think that was exciting because it also, there's every chance that that's a grand final preview as well. And that push and pull and they've been the top 2 teams. That's one that's really stuck with me.
Yeah, and considering the start that they gave the Roosters.
Exactly.
And that was something that I think was addressed by their coaching staff, the slow starts that the Broncos had.
Yeah.
And for them to concede 24 points and fight back to only lose by a handful of points. Yeah.
Very exciting. Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's get into our preview of the prelim finals for the 2025 NRLW season. The first up, Saturday night, in primetime standalone. We have the Roosters and the Sharks facing each other on the Central Coast, just as they did in the final round of the regular season.
Yep.
Roosters fresh off a week's break, few injuries, like you said. But the Sharkies, can they do it?
Well, they turned out brilliantly last week
against
the Cowboys. And the Cowboys have got a pretty strong pack too. Like S.A. Banu runs hard. Lillian Yarrow works hard, and then they've got Peacock that comes off the bench and she just continues to add punch. Bree Chester was really good too. So I think if the Sharks play like they did last week but just ramp it up, just add another 50% to that and just dial it up and but stay in that zone. And I think I spoke about this just before, whereas they're going to have to be consistently testing the Roosters' defence and they're going to have to move them around. So you need to move Rimmer Butler and Atessa Poulet around and force them to travel to either move to short sides. So this is the ideal. If you've got a really dominant pack like the Roosters have, you need to be able to shift the ruck, which is the play the ball. You got to be able to shift that and force those defenders to continually move and manipulate so that then they're constantly having to change and make decisions, and that is really tiring if you just continue that throughout a 70-minute game. Because if they're flipping to a short side, then there's that extra little bit of stress of, oh, it's a short side here, I've got to get up, I've got to tie in, and like all of these decisions that you have to make really do add to that physical fatigue. It adds a mental fatigue in as well. And then also if you're stretching the defence like that and you force Olivia Koenig to make more tackles, then she has less in attack, just naturally because she has to do so much work in defence. But this goes for all good players. You put work into them and they've got a little bit less. It's not a huge amount less, but it could be a split second, which is all you really need at this level.
Yeah.
So you constantly need to put work into these players. You need to turn this big pack around, force them to travel. I'd be looking at kicking early as well and turning them and making them work out of their own half consistently, because they've got great yardage carriers, but it can grind and wear on you if that's what, continues to happen. So that, from a Sharks perspective, that's what I would be looking to do. From a Roosters perspective, they just have this ability to fill whatever gap is necessary and then make it work.
Yeah.
And then even when mistakes happen, they can absorb that pressure and then they can very quickly turn it around on their opposition.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having, looking at the lineup, obviously Corbin Baxter returning from that ankle injury. She'll go straight into 6. So Bridie Parker goes back to fullback, I should say. And she's going to be 6, Jocelyn Kelleher 7. Taina Naivindi has gone to edge back row. So she's gone out to edge back row. And how incredible. She's played wing, she's played 9, she's played, I'm sure she went back to fullback at one stage. Yeah. She was defending in at 3, which is usually a halves position at one stage. She's now playing second row. Is there anything this girl can't do?
I feel like that is the spirit of this Rooster side, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
That ability to play multiple
much.
Positions means that when you have injuries, you can quickly manipulate your side and everybody understands what their role is.
Yeah.
The problem when you don't have that ability is that you then put someone into a position where they haven't played before, and that's where that little bit of hesitation comes in. Yeah. And that's what defense or attack will really get at. And they'll be like, oh, there's hesitation there, I'm going, or whatever else. So that's where that breaks down. So I think for them, it'll just be making sure that obviously that Corbin Baxter's good to go with that ankle. Mm-hmm. If she's sweet, there's no issues there. And then they'll just be in their system, just staying in the grind. And they have like I said, they've got a good ability to absorb a lot of pressure. And then as soon as an opportunity presents, they just flip the switch straight into attack. And they attack from further out than most teams. So a lot of teams the Cowboys do it really well too. They like to attack from yardage, but the Roosters' good ball starts around halfway, even just their side of halfway. And that's why they're such a threat, because they always look to attack. So that's going to be really important for the Sharks to keep an eye on. Yeah. But I just feel like the Roosters have this great ability to turn things around on a dime, even when they do make mistakes. So they do have a really good ability to do that. However, I think they will John Strange will be wanting to see better completion out of them, because he hasn't really got the look he's after there with completion, that consistency that he's really striving for. They just have this incredible strike to be able to take advantage and be opportunistic. But you also have to put yourself in a position to be opportunistic. Yeah. So people might say, oh, it's just because this happened. But they were there. They were still there and forcing it and ready to pounce when it did happen. Yeah. So that's why they're so hard to beat. Yeah. And that's why they're so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's going to be a really great, really, really great game. Looking forward to that battle up front as well, just seeing who owns that space. And I think from the Sharks, a lot of attack comes off Georgia Hannaway, and they look good. Yeah. They look good when she gets out and goes. So that's where I think the Roosters will focus a lot of attention on shutting her down. And again, they'll send a lot of traffic at her, force her to make tackles to try and take some sting out of her attack. Yeah.
I think it's going to be much, much tighter than what it was 2 weeks ago when they faced each other there.
Yeah.
I think it would be easy to kind of go, oh, it's a repeat of the last game that the Roosters did, and then they'll just walk into the grand final, which I think a lot of us have been talking about. It doesn't look like that anyone can stand in their way, but, it's a prelim final. Anything's possible.
Anything is possible in finals, and we've seen it time and time again. Like, anything can happen. We've seen it in the NRL. Yeah. What's happened, the Panthers have gone through from outside the 4, and they're on charge. Yeah. So,
and no one expected the Sharks men to be where they are.
Exactly right. And I love that siege mentality that's coming out of Cronulla at the moment. Yeah. I love it.
It should be a one club mentality as well.
It is.
It is.
I think we've sort of seen that in the women's as well. No one's giving them a chance.
Yeah. Good.
No one's giving them a shot, and I think they like it like that. Yeah, I would.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. It's going to be great. That's Saturday night. Sunday in the lead up to, well, it's a double header at Suncorp.
It's not a lead up.
It's a double header. Double header.
I'm so excited.
At Suncorp Stadium, kicking off with the Broncos and the Knights. Again, another great matchup.
Yeah.
It's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, really is. And I spoke about it before. The Broncos have an incredible ability to score points. So the Knights' defence is going to have to be up in their face consistently and shutting down those threats, particularly looking at the threat of Tamika Upton.
Yeah.
Where she swings and where she sets herself up, because she plays like another half, you have to be aware of what she does. And she's so quick and she presents so late on these sweep plays. And I think a lot of people, I talk about it in commentary and I try and explain it, but I'll try and explain it again here. When everyone's heard of the block plays, right? Just your general block play. But a block play works when whoever the tail runner is presents late. So they'll stay on the inside shoulder of the person who's running that lead line, and they'll stay on their inside shoulder until the very last opportunity, and then they'll pop out. And that forces the defence to either make an early decision, and then it's really easy for the ball carrier and see who to hit, or they make no decision and they just sit there like they're in an armchair. And you've seen people where they're just going and they just stop and pop. And that's exactly the look that you want.
Yeah.
And Tamika Upton runs it so beautifully because she pops out so late. The defence doesn't know what's going on, and she's got that speed where if she sees someone sit in the armchair or hold or even just rock one way, she's got that pace to be able to take that little bit of space.
Absolutely.
And she makes you look so silly. And that's her incredible talent to be able to do that. So the Knights are going to have to be on the ball with all of their they're going to have to call out the Broncos on what the play is, where they see it, who's the threat, all that sort of stuff. And they're going to have to really pick up on all those cues that the Broncos bring. And now one player who probably doesn't get the accolades that I think she deserves is Jada Ferguson.
Yeah.
She's been really good at 9. I think she had a little bit of a quiet patch through the year, maybe 1 or 2 games where she was a bit quiet, but the rest of it has been fantastic. And she's a 9 who runs a little wider. She doesn't sort of try and get in straight behind the ditch or in the ditch, like straight behind the play of the ball. She'll actually get at that A defender. And then that means that her forwards can set a little bit wider. And then they're getting one-on-one with sometimes the halves because of how wide they set.
Yeah.
And that's perfect.
Yeah,
You get Aneta Nua-Sala out that wide. She's going to charge over everybody.
Yeah.
But, so I think she does a lot of work through the middle for them. And obviously, like Gal Broughton and Ali Brigginshaw, they're the ones that pull the strings so beautifully. They just do it so well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really important for the Knights. It's going to have to be a real defence focus because they've got the attack. Jessie Southwell has been incredible for them.
Yep.
They've got this beautiful attack. Georgia Roach is great on that left edge as well. I think Shanice Parker is probably not spoken about enough.
Yeah.
I think she's got that mongrel and she's got that tenacity and that aggression that I think really, really works.
Yeah.
And I will say as well, I've found that Taylor Predabon this year has really taken a lot of punch to the opposition. And that means that Kayla Romanuck can play some good football off the back of her. And the way she was able to be a real link the last few weeks means the halves can set a little wider and they can get their attack out a little wider, which I think will actually work for them. So, again, it'll just be manipulating that Broncos defence to get the looks that they're after. But it is definitely going to have to be a defensive mindset from the Knights and just attitude in that space and just continually identifying and shutting down threats that the Broncos present.
I mean, it's so exciting because regardless of what happens, we're in stall for 2 incredible prelim finals. They're going to be some amazing examples of the best in NRLW footy. You've played in finals, Roo. I think that another component away from what actually happens on the field is the mental game and being prepared. And I'd love to get your perspective as a former player on, in the lead up to a big game like this, what's going through your mind? How do you manage the nerves? Do you look at it as just any other game? Like, what is the best approach when you're coming into it?
Well, the best approach is it's individualised. It's what the player needs at that time. But from a team perspective, like, nerves are good.
Yeah.
Nerves show you care. Like, but you can be it sounds counterintuitive, but you can be nervous and calm at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
So I remember years ago I was chatting, we had one of our Origin games when we hadn't won forever. And it was 17 years in a row, 18 years in a row. And the first year that we won, I remember having I was in the lift with one of our younger girls and she's like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Are you nervous? And I was like, I'm calm. Like I have this real clarity on what we're doing. I have clarity on what we need to do to achieve our goals. I was like, I said, I understand you're nervous, but I'm really calm. I feel calm about it. But under the surface, yeah, like there's all these thoughts and whatever, but you just have to be able to trust the work that you've done and the work you've put in to get to where you are. And I think if you have real clarity on what your mission is and you have real clarity on how you execute your role to make sure that the team is successful, you just control what you can control and you trust that everyone around you is controlling what they can control. And then it all comes together on the day. And the best thing, and I said this to the Origin girls this year in one of our final chats with the forwards, I said, look, the only thing that I can guarantee you is that nothing's going to go to plan. Yeah. I can guarantee you it's not going to go the way we think it's going to go, but we've done everything we can. When things do go sideways, when it hits the wall, we know how we're going to get through it. And we trust that we're all going to do our jobs to get through it. Yeah. And that's just the way you just have to trust that. And you have to know that you've put the work in. And also you got to enjoy the pressure. Yeah. You got to enjoy it. Yeah. Because that's part of being a competitive person and competitive sports person is pressure is a privilege because it means that people expect things from you. Yeah. And then where it gets a little sticky is when we put undue pressure on ourselves. Yeah. But this is good pressure. This is enjoyable pressure because this is, this is, and you get that feeling in your chest and you get that feeling in your diaphragm and you're like, oh, yeah, no, this is great. And then you feel your muscles tense and relax. And so, you just have all these little processes. And I was very different and other people are very different. And it's whatever suits the individual. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you're, like I said, if you have clarity on what your mission is, you have clarity on how you need to execute your role, then things tend to fall the way you want them to fall, even if things don't go the way you expect them to on the way. So, and that's the thing, like just have that real elasticity and that flexibility and going, okay, well, if this happens, then this happens, then we do this. If that happens, then we do this. And, you plan for every eventuality, but you also plan it's never going to go to plan. So, and you just got to love it. Just love it and enjoy it. And
it's all energy, isn't it? Nerves, pressure, it's just energy and what you do with it. So. Yeah.
And everyone's, I think sports people are, they have very regimented things on what they like to do. I think Luke Lewis had like 20 showers a day before he played, on a game day. I always used to have Vegemite toast was my thing. I had to have Vegemite on my toast and I had to wear my pink undies that day. You just have little things, so you get all of those little things that you can control so that when things are out of your control, you're able to roll with it a lot easier. Yeah. But they just got to enjoy the pressure.
Thanks for the insight, Rue. Your brain is a beautiful thing and I love hearing your perspective on this stuff. I'm so excited for these
You don't want to be stuck in here though, I'm telling you. I'll tell you that for free.
Oh my goodness, we love it. We love to hear it. Can't wait for this weekend. Thank you for sharing your wisdom as always. We will be right here once again next week for our last show of the year, the big grand final preview. Who's going to be there? Slide into the DMs with your predictions. If there's someone who nails it, on the head, I don't know, we'll give you a shout out or something. I've got nothing to give you other than a shout out, so I hope you can just deal with that. Thank you so much for listening. You have been listening to the NRLW Weekly podcast with Marlee Silva and Ruan Sims. Thanks to Lite N and Harvey Norman. We'll catch you next week.